Mrs. Kate and the Library of Whispers. Today I'm going to read to you the first of the Hobbit Movie Storybooks. This one is An Unexpected Journey. Let's begin. manages to sneak away and free the ponies. As brave and strong as the dwarfs are, the trolls are stronger, and soon the dwarfs are captured. Stuffed into sacks, Bilbo and his friends can only wait while the trolls decide how they're going to cook their latest tasty prizes. Just as things are looking very bleak, the trolls start to argue with each other. In fact, they argue so much that they don't realise that it is getting light. With a shout, Gandalf suddenly appears on top of a nearby rock. He smashes his staff into the rock beneath his feet. As the rock cracks, the first rays of dawn spill through the hole and splash the trolls with sunlight, turning them to stone. Knowing that the trolls must have a hideout nearby, Thorin and Gandalf start to search. Soon they discover a hidden cave. They find 3 amazing swords, and it is clear that these weapons are something special. Gandalf, Thorin and Bilbo take one of the swords each and press on with their journey. As they leave the cave, the group hear a terrible sound. They are being hunted by ferocious wargs. Howling and gnashing their jaws, 2 of the enormous beasts come crashing out of the trees, ridden by bloodthirsty orcs. "Arm yourselves," cries Gandalf, as the dwarves once more leap into battle. Swinging his new sword, Thorin cuts the head of a warg with one mighty blow and sends it crashing to the ground. Then, taking careful aim, Keely shoots a single arrow, fizzing through the air, and straight into the head of the other warg, killing it instantly. "We have to get out of here," cries Gandalf. "Follow me." With wargs snapping at their heels, Gandalf leads the group through the wilds and into the foothills of the Misty Mountains. As the enemies gain on them, Gandalf hurries the company into a hidden valley in the rocks, just in time. "Welcome to the last homely house east of the sea," says Gandalf. Bilbo and his friends have entered Rivendell, home of the elves. It is a secret and magical place where the evil wargs do not dare to follow. However, dwarves and elves are not the best of friends, and some of the group are not too happy about entering Rivendell. Why seek refuge with the enemy? Elves, shudders Gloin in disgust. But as they enter further into the valley, Bilbo has no such worries. "It feels like magic," he says, amazed by the peace and beauty of the hidden valley. heads off into the caverns. Meanwhile, Bilbo is still trying to escape from Gollum. Wearing the ring, Bilbo discovers that he is invisible. Quietly, he follows Gollum to the exit of the caves. Then Bilbo leaps over the wretched creature and escapes. Suddenly, Bilbo appears behind the company. Everyone is happy to be back together, but there is no time to lose. Riding atop their vicious wargs, orcs suddenly appear, eager to hunt down the quarry they lost outside Rivendell. Soon the company find themselves surrounded. Thinking quickly, Gandalf orders everyone to climb the nearby trees. Perched among the leaves, Bilbo and his friends look on helplessly as a new, even deadlier enemy arrives. Sitting astride an enormous warg, the hideous orc chieftain rides into view. With one order from the orc, the wargs attack. As the mighty beasts hack and bash at the trees below, Gandalf has an idea. Gently catching a moth into his hands, he whispers a secret message to it and sends it off into the darkening skies. Next, he grabs some pine cones and works his magic upon them. Hurled down to the ground, the cones explode in flames, burning everything around them. Unfortunately for the company, the trees they are in also catch fire. Soon everyone is huddled in the last tree. Circling below them, the wargs close in for the kill. Before the orcs can deliver the killing strike, a group of giant eagles sweeps in from the sky. They have received Gandalf's message and have come to rescue everyone. One by one, the eagles gather up the group with their mighty talons and fly off, leaving the wargs helpless in the burning forest. Although rescued and in relative safety, the company cannot relax. They are only just beginning their journey. The evil dragon Smaug still